All right, Mr. Carrillo, what made you decide to run for District 5 here in Corpus Christi?
It's actually District 3.
Excuse me, sir. Thank you.
And not a problem. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I really do appreciate the time that you're permitting myself and the candidates. But to the question, there are several factors that I did take into account when deciding to move forward running for District 3 City Council. And I would say that there are several factors. One, public service has always been near and dear to my heart. That I've always, in fact, back in the 80s, I was very supportive in many candidates over the years, beginning in 1980s, all the way to the present. But as the time progressed, as my career progressed, I've been with the same business now. It'll be at the end of the year, I'll be retiring, actually. And that's probably one of the biggest factors as to why I decided to run for city council. And of course, what do I bring to the district or to the city and as a whole? I've been really, really fortunate to have a wonderful career, 43-plus year career working for a multinational specialty chemical company. And in that time, I've had, I guess you would say, two chapters in my life. The first half of the book, my chapter in this career, has been in the manufacturing side, which encompasses so many things from operations to supply chain to logistics to managing groups out in the plant to budgeting, of course, and to prepare efficient operations and just to ensure that we could be competitive in the global marketplace. And so in 2001, I had the opportunity to move from the manufacturing side of the business into the commercial side of the business. So no, I was the guy that was helping move products from our various chemical companies in the United States around the world. And at present, my current title is Senior Business Development Representative for North America and Japan. And so prior to 2015, to that change, I actually had most of the globe with regards to market representation, business development, and so I've had an extensive business opportunity to negotiate with clients from all over the globe, and of course understanding trade, international trade, where we can market our products, where we should avoid or where we can't market products. So I do have that background when it comes to the business side of it, negotiations, getting in front of a camera, getting in front of a group of people, and having that skill set to really dig deep into the issues that face our business, have faced our business for all these years. So now we shift all that knowledge, and that's something that I bring to the table, that I'm actually able to bring in a global understanding. Do you need a global understanding as to how to be a city council representative? Not really, but it does. Well, I would say yes. It does help because I'm able to bring in a perspective from working out in the plant and understanding what folks out in the city, the workers, whether they be the folks that work out in our water division, to collecting our trash, to taking care of our streets and what have you. I've done similar jobs over the years, so I've walked in their shoes. And then, of course, managing people out in the field and just having to really understand how to work with people and how to best manage them and to become the best that they can be, as effective as they can be. And then the last bit of it is understanding what it takes to be competitive in the global marketplace. Well, in this case, Corpus Christi is in essence in competition to cities, not just in Texas, but cities around the country. So my job would be to attract businesses to come to our city, but at the same time helping navigate our team of representatives along with the mayor to best service our constituents, whether it's in my district or other districts, because we're all encompassing. We're all one city, even though we're single-member district representatives. So, and I think I would have to say the biggest piece of it is that I will have the time to avail myself to our residents. And I've had the opportunity to visit with knocked on over 3,000, almost 3,500 doors since the beginning of this campaign. And I've done this mostly by myself. There's been 2 days, I think, in all the days that I've done the canvassing that I had my wife with me. But I felt it important. People will ask, why don't you take teams with you? So, well, I felt it important that the residents needed to see their candidate face to face, and to ask the questions, and to understand their needs, what their hurts are, or their concerns are, the disgruntlements and what have you, and then what they're happy, what they're satisfied in seeing how the city is moving. And so I will say this, that I heard more of the we need help than the city's going in the right direction. There have been some good responses, but it's mostly there's been some issues that have been near and dear to many of the residents' hearts, and in many cases, each of the neighborhoods, whether it's in my neighborhood in Shannon Estates subdivision, or whether it's in the Country Club, or whether it's in Molina, or whether it's out in the London subdivision, the common concern is streets, and then each particular neighborhood or residential area has its distinct concerns. So I've had a good understanding as to what the needs or the wants or the desires or the questions that our residents have, and so having that understanding has really enabled me to really actually start the job already. In many cases, I'm already helping residents because there's been some issues that I think were pretty pressing that could not wait, so I help move some issues along, some concerns along. So so I guess that's maybe too long-winded, but that's why I've decided to run for office. Thank you.
Sounds like you have an extensive business background, which has contributed to your global perspective, given that you worked in different countries with different folks, and then, of course, you're retiring. You're going to have some time to help the folks right around here in Corpus Christi, and you have a lot of experience with that. You touched on a lot of issues. Is there any specific issue you'd like to address for
sure.
District 3?
The big one is water. I think that's the one that has really been an issue that is been discussed and negotiated. And should we go with desal? Should we not do desal? And I am in favor of desalination. But not only am I in favor of desalination, I'm also in favor of using other various water resources. As example, the Mary Roads pipeline that we've had in operations for several decades. I understand that there is some work that needs to be done with the pipeline to better service us and to increase the output of water coming to our city. And next, there is the Nueces River Authority. As most people will know or may know, the Nueces River Authority reached out to the city of Corpus Christi, and I think quite surprising that they did for whatever reason. I don't know why it was a surprise when the city knew that it was there and available. So those are two resources that would help optimize the water output. And then the third question is to where should we position that plant, and who should pay for the building and the operations of the plant. I've looked at the different models, and at the end of the day, the Inner Harbor has too many red flags for me. Just looking at it from an operational standpoint, and just understanding because we are located. My office is actually at one of the plant sites here in Corpus Christi, so I am quite familiar with our port and the operations and the depth of the harbor, the width of the harbor, and to be quite honest with you, I don't think that the area is the optimum location, and we've learned now through various reports that the maximum output would be 30 million gallons a day. I don't think that that's going to cut it, so to speak, with regards to servicing both the residents and industry, and so I would venture to say I've looked at different models. I think the biggest one, I guess I would say, would be my number one pick, would be the Outer Harbor, using the Farfield model, which is quite a distance from the city and to the feed points into the city and to the various industries. But as we know, the beginning output could be anywhere from 50 million gallons of water a day all the way up to 100 million gallons of water a day. So that is kind of where I think I would look at that approach. But having said that, who is going to be paying for this plant? And we know it's going to take quite a bit of time to do this. Who has a vested interest, and who has the most water usage? I would have to say that industry. I would say in this case should have to pay its fair share, since they are the largest consumers of the water, and I can attest to that because I work for an industry, so I understand what our water needs are relative in comparison to our neighbors, the Citgos, the Valeros, the Flint Hills, and other plants that are in the area. So how should that be taken care of? I really don't know how to answer that at this moment, but I guess in the simplistic form, you use most of the water, you should be responsible for paying more of the water. That's maybe it's too practical or maybe too easy of an approach, but as we all know, if we need industry. By all means, I am pro-industry. I've been in the industry for 43 plus years, so I can't say that we can live without industry. No, we very much need industry. So I think that's going to be a mountain that we'll need to address. Whether it's a city alone, I would say not. I would say definitely involve the Port of Corpus Christi and other entities that would have vested interests. So to lay the entire cost on the city, I think would be it would be a non-negotiating. It would be a non-starter because that I would not accept going in that direction. So I think there has to be other folks in the discussion. So that's one of the biggies. The other one I think has been the big pink elephant in the room, in the city room, and it has to do with the library board. I was asked recently in a questionnaire, what is my position on the new recommendations for the book collection policy, and they asked me to be specific on my position and why it is my position, and I actually have that answer right here in front of me, so I think it's best if I read it. It's not too long. It's very short, actually, but it's concise and to the point. I support the proposed Corpus Christi library policy because it balances the protection of minors with access to diverse literature. So, by relocating books with mature themes to age-appropriate areas rather than banning them, the policy encourages responsible exploration while respecting parental guidance. This approach fosters a safe environment for young readers, allowing them to engage with age-appropriate content while preserving the integrity of the library's collection for older patrons seeking those materials. So I know there's been a lot of controversy. There's been a lot of talk that, there's been book banning. I can say, no, that's not the truth. If a citizen or families want to take a deep dive into what's really been taking place, I would strongly and highly recommend that individuals or families go out to the library board meetings and become educated with the library issues and the new proposal. And I would say the other issue would be the goals with regards to what are my big concerns. Number one, it has to do with budget. Second would be economic growth and transparency. Third, advocating for improved communication between the cities and residents. Improved fire, police, and emergency response. And my fifth point would be reduction of animal stray population. So I can go over these just briefly. In fact, I've got them right here in front of me, so I can kind of read what my answers were to this questionnaire, which I thought was very, very good. Zero-based budgeting, that's a big proponent on that. By doing so, we're able to ensure that the city council funds are allocated based on current needs and promoting accountability and efficiency. Just putting a budget out there and let's have at it. Now, this method encourages strategic planning, prioritizes essential services, and allows for better resource management, ultimately improving community welfare and financial stability. So basically, it's let's be sure of what we're spending, why we're spending what we're spending. And my second point is economic growth and transparency. Economic growth provides jobs and improves living standards, while transparency fosters trust between citizens and elected officials. Together, they create an informed community that actively participates in governance and supports sustainable development initiatives for a thriving city. So we need to grow our city with regards to economic growth. No economic growth, no increased population, which we know has been pretty much flatline for as long as I can remember. We haven't seen a whole lot of, we have seen some, but we need to do much better. And then communication between the city and residents, we really need to improve that. I know we've come a long way, and by improving the communication lines, residents feel assured that their voices are being heard, and in turn, there's a trust building that goes with the local government. I think at present, there's very few happy families out there, I could say, or residents that taxpayers. They don't feel that they're really represented as best as they could. So again, having the time, having the resources and the opportunity to meet with families, to the folks that I represent, and the members in the city, residents of the city, that I think I would become a good advocate, a good ambassador for the city, and helping make some good decision-making votes when it came time, because I'm addressing the community's needs, and that really helps strengthen collaboration and is improved for elective governance and improved public services. And the fourth point would be improved fire, police, and emergency response. They're vital services for ensuring that our residents live in a safe city. I think it's no mystery that, or no news that we do need to increase our numbers in both the fire and police forces, but at the same time recognizing what are some of the inefficiencies that currently exist. I come from the business world, so that's something that we do very actively, that before we make any decisions to add to our head count, if you would, we want to make sure that we're really maximizing output per individual, and that includes myself. Am I utilizing my tools and my resources as effectively as need be? And then the fifth point that I'd like to bring up is the reduction of stray animal population. Again, this goes, as I said earlier in this recording, is that while there is a common need for each of the neighborhoods around District 3, I would say that in the Molina area, particularly in the west side of Corpus Christi, I have seen that's been an area where there's been the most reported stray dogs. And from what I understand from many of the residents in these neighborhoods is that dogs are dropped off, animals are dropped off, and they're just left there. So what do we do about this? What do we do? Well, I'm a big believer in increasing the spraying and neuter programs that are now available and that have been available, but they're now, and spending time with Kathleen Chapa, the newly appointed animal control shelter director, she has really accelerated and really moved forward. So Kathleen, I hope you're hearing this, and just want to give you kudos for really taking the bull by the horns and moving on this. And of course, we need to educate our community and help our residents understand that we've got an issue here, and we need their help. We need their help in controlling this dog population, and of course, we need to work with local shelters and really improve and facilitate adoption and provide resources for lost and abandoned animals. While I know it's impossible to say that we're going to make Corpus Christi a no-kill city, we need the city's help. We need residents' help. to ensure that this is avoided. I don't want to. Wouldn't like to know of any dog that is euthanized or taken to an incinerator because we didn't do our job as residents to be responsible for our animals, to ensure that our dogs are sprayed and neutered. So I think as residents, it's with us. It's with us that need to be taken into account and say, hey, I need to be responsible for my own actions and for the end result. So those are the big points. One of the other things I would like to add is folks have asked, have you ever run for public office? No, the answer is no. I've not run for a public office, but I do want to share with the listening audience that I currently do serve as chairman for the Nueces County Civil Service Commission. This is actually my second term. This is my first term as chairman, but I have served a term. Actually, I filled out a term as commissioner with the Civil Service Group. So I am familiar with what goes on in the city, very, very engaged in attending and being a part of our city council meetings. So I have been engaged for a number of years in just seeing what our issues are and what are the areas that need addressing by our city council members. So I wanted to end it with that. Also, just to remind folks that I do have an extensive business background, so I do bring that much needed business experience, true business experience, that really can really help our city and really move our city forward. And so, yeah, and of course I'll be retired and I'll have the time to avail myself. So thank you so much.